Hello, my name is Mary Ann Barnett, and I'm the transition coordinator for the Wisconsin Educational Services Program Outreach Team. And today, well, thank you for watching this segment of our virtual job interviews. Today, I have the honor and pleasure of interviewing my friend and colleague, Carolyn Ludka. I will let Carolyn introduce herself.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Caroline Ludka, and I work for the Office for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing.
Carolyn, can you tell me a little bit more about yourself within the agency? What is your role? How long have you been there?
Sure. My role, or my title, is the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Specialist, and I have been with the Office for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing for almost 7 years.
And how about a little bit of background on the agency? What can you tell me about the Office for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing?
Sure. The Office for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing serves the Wisconsin residents, and in a nutshell, we provide information referral services, communication access, accommodation consultation, and training to service providers and stakeholders throughout the state of Wisconsin. Training can be done virtually as well as in person, depending where they are. And those who are interested to reach out to the ODHH office, you have the option to send us an email, and that will be the odhh@wisconsin.gov. And the phone number, the general number, is 855-359-5252.
Thank you. We will put a link on the slide with that information that you just gave us. So the Office for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing is part of the Department for Health Services within the state of Wisconsin?
Yes, it is. We're under the umbrella.
And how many offices do you have?
You mean under DHS?
Under DHS, the Office for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing is one of the departments within ODHH. How many locations are there ODHH representatives?
Okay, it's under the OPAL, Opportunity for Promoting Independent Living. There's 3 offices: Office for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, Office for the Physical Disability, and the OBVI, Office for Visually Impaired, and for the local population.
Under specifically ODHH, how many of you are there? Are there other people who you do?
In our team.
Yes. Sorry. Me too.
Sure. Sorry about that. Yeah, there's 8 of us in our office. And so there will be 3 hearing individuals. There's 2 interpreter staff and 1 is a policy analysis. There's 4 staff who are deaf. And so that would be a deaf and hard of hearing specialist, my colleague, she is deaf. Service fund coordinator, Jennifer, trying to think of the other 2. Director Holly Barnes-Spinks, and the
Social Security.
And there's no hard of hearing, it's me. It's like, what the?
Social Security specialist?
Yes, Jennifer Kane, disability benefit specialist. Sorry about that.
The one that you mentioned and you jumped over it lightly was for the special service fund.
Yeah, Betty mentioned.
That's, I tend to refer people to her and to the ODHH website when there is a death in the family and the family is reaching out looking for, how do I get an interpreter? How do I pay for an interpreter? I'm coming from out of state, something like that. I refer them to Betty and the ODHH website for that service fund. But for yourself, what kind of requests do you typically get? Why do clients typically contact you?
Most of the reach out to us is through email and phone calls, and I'm not going to put them in order as the most frequent to the least. It's going to be a random, but financial assistance for hearing aids, because hearing aids are expensive. So we do have a list that I'd be happy to send it out, or email for those who wish to learn what's financial assistance available for those who are seeking hearing aids. We also have a visor card for drivers who are deaf and hard of hearing. So if they go out and travel, at least they have a tool available if they ever get pulled over by a police officer. I actually have one right next to me. That's what it looks like. And so if anyone wishes to have a copy of this, I'd be happy to mail it, no cost. So it's a point to the picture communication tool. Along with this, I've had several people call and say, I had a very bad experience during a pullover. I wish the officer to know that I am deaf before they come to my window. I said, well, there is that option. The DMV has an invisible disclosure form. That's available on the DMV website, not ours. And if you have a hard time, if you tried to find it and you can't find it, that's okay. You can contact us and I'd be happy to send you the link. So basically what you do is you fill out that form and you send it to DMV. They put it in their system. So your driver's license, your vehicle registration, and it says that you're deaf, the police officer will automatically be informed before they approach to your window, which is really nice.
Very cool. But if you happen to be in a different car, or if you happen to be the passenger, that card you just held up, if it's with your person, can you take that with you to any car that you happen to be in?
You mean the visor card?
Visor card.
You can take with you in your vehicle.
So if I have 2 cars, could I get 2 of them?
Yes.
Good to know. Were there other things you were going to mention under the typical requests?
Yes, there's many others. I cannot say there's a same request each day. Every day is different. I can have somebody call and say that they receive a letter from Medicaid or Medicare, or they have questions about SSI or SSDI. Then I'll connect them to a disability benefits specialist. There are plenty out there throughout the state. We can help you connect to the ones who are the closest to you. If you're a consumer who sign and you wish to communicate someone in sign language, direct one-on-one, we have that member, Jennifer Kane, who is part of our team, will help you to connect with her and she'll assist you with benefits related information. Service fund, as you've mentioned earlier, is another popular one. Service fund covers communication access for individuals or service agencies when they are not required by law to provide accommodation, meaning like ADA or the Rehab Act. And so I'll give you an example. This makes it easier. The most common request for service fund is for funeral. So to clarify, if you're an individual who wants to receive business from the funeral director and plan a funeral, that's separate. That's the funeral responsible to provide accommodation in that kind of business processing and planning. But if you have a death of a family member, or you wish to attend to a funeral that you lost a friend, you want to pay respect, and you want to go to that funeral, but knowingly they're not going to have an interpreter there or real-time captioning there. So you want to go there more than just being there. You want to be socially included. You can request service fund to pay for the communication access to able to join that, during the wake or the burial. It's your decision when you want to go. And the change is that you as an individual has to arrange the interpreter. So you pick the interpreter agency and time and date and so forth, and go to this funeral. So it's really nice. There's other avenues in the situation where you can apply service fund. Another example is if you live in a condo, you move out of your parents' house, you don't want to live in an apartment, you want to live in a condo, you own a unit in this one big building. And then you have a condo association, meaning that you have neighbors come together. We're going to talk about budget because you pay a fee every year when you live in this condo, because this money is paid towards to yard maintenance, snow plowing, you name it. So you want to participate in this social meeting that you may need to vote. So you don't want to miss this meeting. So you apply for a service fund to request accommodation for that meeting. So make sure you know the date as soon as possible. If it's a month from now, perfect. Apply the service fund. You have plenty of time to request accommodation for that. So that's the beauty thing that we have is service fund. Other topics, I'm sorry?
Okay, with the service fund, is there a limit of how many times a person can use it? You just said I could use it if I was attending, maybe it's an annual condo meeting. I can request that every year then for that annual condo meeting. I can request it if my friend dies this month and my grandmother dies in 2 months. I can do repeated requests.
Yes,
This is fabulous information.
yes. And I'm trying to think of others common request. When there's a discrimination that may have taken place, wherever it may be, workplace, hospital setting, wherever, and you come to the situation where I want to file a complaint, but I don't know where to go or who to talk to. Here's my story. This would happen. And so I would take that information. I said, okay, what would you like to do? Would you like to be more of a connect with the staff at the hospital if it happens at a hospital, and I can find this person that you can talk to report? Or do you want to go formality, like reach out to DOJ? So I can give them a suggestion direction where to go to and connect to the right person they need to talk to and proceed further in that direction. So that's another example there.
Thank you. Fabulous overview on the various sub groups within ODHH. My main focus for asking your input is about youth getting jobs and working in society. How can the ODHH office assist youth who are looking for employment?
For employment, I kind of broken down kind of 4 ways. First one is if somebody calls and saying, hey, I don't have a job, I'm looking for a job, I need help finding a job, anything like that, then I immediately refer them to the Division of Vocational Rehab, DVR. I strongly recommend that because that's their role. Their job is to help people with disabilities to find a job, to maintain a job, or even get a better job. I mean, that's the thing.
That's exactly what the DVR rep said last week when we interviewed one. Almost word for word.
Yes. So it's really encourage DVR. However, I do get some phone calls that some people say, I'm not going through DVR. I want to do it myself, which is fine, perfectly fine. And they wish to learn some tools to self-advocate because that is a skill that you have to pick up and learn, especially for a person with a disability. You really need to be comfortable to self-advocate. And if you're not comfortable to tell someone openly what you need, then you really want to work on that and get training. So for the advocacy training, I direct them to the independent living centers. There's 8 throughout the state of Wisconsin. So I find out the one that's the closest to them and then give them the contact person and go from there. Because independent living centers do provide advocacy training. They can probably do it in a group or one-on-one. But I strongly encourage to have that strong self-confidence. I'm here, I know my needs, I can work with you. Get that confidence, that advocacy power in them. And that's the second. The third one is that, let's say, again, you're not a DVR client. Again, you're gonna look for a job. But you know that challenge is getting that foot in the door and knowing that there's a challenge, you have to, you don't want them to know that you're deaf and hard of hearing or any other type of disability. You just want to sell yourself that you are an excellent candidate. You want that job. That's good. Let's say you found a job that you like. You found out an interview date. Hopefully it's 2 weeks advanced or further. If it is, awesome. Then you can apply for service fund for that initial interview. That initial interview. That you would show up on the interview with an interpreter or with a cart provider, whichever choice. It will make you look like so well prepared, so confident, make it so easy for the employer to meet you and have that interaction. But you will need to let the employer know, the person who's interviewing you, that how to work with an interpreter. So you get a little bit of an educational perspective. You say, please face me when speaking and asking question. She or he is here, the interpreter, is to help to facilitate the communication for you and me. Make it that simple. Okay.
Very nice.
So the last one is that, let's say you got hired. You got the job. Woohoo! Congratulations. But the employer is like, most of the staff are hearing, and you are a new candidate who happen to be severely hard of hearing or maybe deaf, and you interesting change to a dynamic to a team. It's like, oh, we need training. We got to learn something, you know. Then you can let them know that please contact Office for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, because we do provide training up to 2 hours, free, no cost to the employer. And we love to do it. And we can do it in virtually, or we can do it in person. Those are the top 4.
Can you tell me a little bit about that training?
Oh, yes. The training, most of the key PowerPoint presentation that we use is employment and hearing loss. So it kind of gives you an overview of the ranges of hearing loss. Because I give it a holistic approach, because even though they're individual, they hired maybe profoundly deaf, but I do touch on hard of hearing, because you never know, they have a member in their team who may have a hearing loss. They may know someone who has a hearing loss. So this benefits everyone. And so we talk about the hearing loss, we talk about the social norms in the hearing world versus to the deaf, the culturally deaf. And that's usually, I have one PowerPoint that shows the comparison. A lot of people love that slide. We talk about different communication strategies, what works, what doesn't work in one situation to another. There's no one size fits all. So what works for one person doesn't work for another person. And we provide resources. We kind of cover some of the common myths. You know, lip reading. That's I give an example of speech reading and give an idea. I'm trying to think of what else did I do, but I do ask, what I love is this presentation I give is very interactive. That, you know, I'm trying to pull in what they're thinking. What are their questions? What have I not touched on? I really open it up. I just love it when someone tells me, gave me one example of that. I normally take a new employee to come with me to go out to lunch, but it's a 15-minute drive. This new employee is deaf. But during that 15-minute drive, we're not even talking. It feels awkward. And I said, well, that's normal. You know, because I understand you don't sign, that's okay, but you know, and so you just wait until you arrive to the place you're gonna eat, and then you have a conversation. That's just the difference from the hearing population, where you can drive and talk at the same time and play music, or, you know. But that was one good example. Another one, someone saying about what it's like to walk and talk at the same time with someone who is deaf, going up and down the stairs, the challenges, or in the hallway, or little things like that. You don't think about it until the moment happens. And sometimes there's humor, or their stories are shared. And not only that, I love it when there's other employees in the group actually for the first time have the confidence say, I have a hearing loss. And their supervisor had no clue. It's like, why didn't you say anything about it? And so it kind of opens it up, and then and it made it more of a welcoming setting. So that's what I love about giving training. So I'm doing more than just giving information that impacts. So that's what I love about it.
So with these trainings, who requests them? The client or the employer?
Most of the time it's the employer because they learned it from their employee. I think it's passed on. And so it's most of the time it's the employer. Sometimes they're human resource. Sometimes it's ADA coordinator, or they may have a different title, something like that. And they request us to come and give a presentation. Anybody can make a request for ODHH staff to give a presentation. Anyone, you can send an email, phone call. So it can be a nonprofit organization, for profit, anyone.
Is there a card, a business card with the name and the phone, the email and the phone number on there? Or is it up to either the client or the business? Like you said, it comes usually from the client. Is there an easy way to just let the employer know that this is available for them? Because it would be the employer who would want to schedule that time with you.
Mhm. The employer, yes, and usually I give the brochure, ODHH brochure, because it has a nice overview and it also says training in here. I can give you a business card, but it won't say what we provide. So this would be a more effective tool. So if there's an employee that wish to have something visual, I can mail it, or I can send you a PDF link, so you just an email, which would be a lot quicker. And then you can forward it to an employer and they can say, please contact ODHH. You want to reach them for training. And the information is all there. Contacts are on the back too. So it's really easy.
So do you have a fabulous story that you can share about working with an employer? A fabulous challenge that you overcame, or a barrier that was just like too cool and you have to tell us about it?
And for someone who they hired as an individual who's deaf and hard of hearing?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Let me think. I went to a company and this employee was a hard of hearing individual. It was a hard of hearing employee. And when I arrived on site, it's more of the environment was that stood out for me, is because they led me to a room that looks like an auditorium, but it's a company that sells products. But they have a room that you would never guess that there's an auditorium with a big screen. That was the first thing coming to my mind in the environment, but it was a very warm setup, and the team there are very friendly, supportive. They ask a lot of questions toward and through their new employee to get to know better. And when it got to that direction, I kind of like stepped back and just kind of have the opportunity to let them interact, and I can jump in whenever it needs to. And it kind of put the PowerPoint on hold, because that is something I don't want to interrupt, because this is their prime time. This is the floor for them to get to know each other. And this is team building, getting to know each other, have some relationship. That is crucial. And so that moment is the environment and how everything came together. It was beautiful. And I haven't heard from her that things are, I don't get updates. So if I ever heard anything, that's usually a good sign. So she's happy. Everybody's happy and then moving forward. I can't think of another place. Oh gosh.
I love the no news is good news. That's
Yeah.
very nice. Same with students who are graduating from high school. I like hearing when they contact their former teachers or former staff and let them know what they're doing, how they're doing, or how much they're enjoying their job situation. I love hearing those stories, but there's a lot of times it is the no news is good news, because if they're in an employment arrangement already, chances are they're not going to reach back out to you or to the staff, their former teaching staff, unless there's a need, unless something went awry and they need to reconnect. So I kind of like the way you worded that.
Yeah, it's usually when I don't hear anything, it's good news. And that's what it really is. So it feels good that it's progressing really well. And
Do you have any words of wisdom for these youth that are looking for employment?
don't give up, be positive, keep trying. You get another rejection? Okay, find another opportunity. The key is don't give up. You are a valuable member of the society. You want to contribute back to the environment, the society, you can. It's just that what stood out for me is because I went to Gallup University, School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, Washington, D.C., Gallup University. And I met I. King Jordan. And he has a saying like, deaf people can do anything, but here. That means you can do anything. If you want to be a teacher, be a teacher. You want to be a doctor, be a doctor. You want to be a lawyer, be a lawyer. Do it. Do what you need to do to achieve your goal. So there's no limits. If you can't hear, we got all these technology we have right now. They're the solution.
Well, thank you so much. I love your advice.